10 years ago, monsters mysteriously appeared around the world through some gates. As the monsters emerged, some individuals called awakened started to appear. These awakened individuals developed special abilities and became known as hunters, tasked with hunting down these monsters. The awakened were categorized into different ranks based on their powers. Among them was King Ji Hyung, an awakened person with the power of regeneration. He attended a specialized high school meant for the awakened, but his ability to only regenerate made him feel like a loser. His peers at the school bullied him, and this constant torment took a toll on him. Whenever he regenerated from their attacks, they would strike again, laughing at his pain. The worst part was that no physical evidence of the bullying remained on his healed body, making it difficult for anyone, including teachers or police, to intervene. Despite enduring this agony, Ji Hyung's determination was fueled by his love for his mother, as his father had passed away when he was young. After enduring a stressful day at school, Ji Hyung returned home to his mother. He couldn't bear to worry about her, so he lied and said everything went well at school. He shared his dream of becoming a hunter one day, hoping it would make things easier for both of them. He wanted to become a C-class ranked hunter, which might not bring in much, but it would be enough to improve their lives. He looked forward to his mom's upcoming birthday, thinking it would be a special occasion, until tragedy struck. The same bullies attacked his mother at her restaurant, leaving her in a vegetative state. They claimed it was a mistake, but the truth was that they had come with malicious intentions, which ended in a confrontation. Enraged and desperate, Ji Hyung confronted the bullies, knowing their actions were not accidental. In his mind, the confrontation was much more than a mere scuffle. It was a battle of emotions. The bullies, however, displayed no remorse. One of them feared the consequences of their actions, while the other confidently relied on the government's protection, believing they would escape any issues. The confrontation escalated, and Ji Hyung demanded to know why they had hurt his mother. Although the bullies pretended not to know what he was talking about, Ji Hyung sought the truth. Frustrated with their evasiveness, he repeated his question until they finally acknowledged their actions. The bully, who had the ability to create diamonds, whether as weapons or jewelry, laughed at the mention of Ji Hyung's mother. Realizing that Ji Hyung was about to retaliate, he swiftly used his power to impale him with a diamond spear. Despite the injury, Ji Hyung relied on his regeneration ability to remove the spear from his chest, preparing himself for what lay ahead. The bully's relentless assault continued as he hurled a series of spears at Ji Hyung, each one piercing different parts of his body. Despite the pain, Ji Hyung's incredible regeneration ability allowed him to keep moving toward the bullies, but at a slower pace this time, like a zombie. Another bully named Thor, feeling threatened, attempted to use his lightning power to knock Ji Hyung out. Surprisingly, Ji Hyung persisted, though his movements became more subdued. Eventually, he fell to his knees and then fell face down on the ground. The bullies, believing they had triumphed, decided to leave the scene. However, Ji Hyung wasn't defeated yet. Lying on the ground, he managed to grab one of the bullies' legs and defiantly asked them where they thought they were going. This infuriated the bullies, and they decided to finish him off. The bully with the diamond ability turned his hand into a diamond fist, immobilizing Ji Hyung. Then he called on another bully named Sandman to dig a hole in the ground with his powers, and Ji Hyung was placed inside. Once Ji Hyung was in the pit, the diamond-powered bully filled it with diamond spikes, while Sandman covered it up again. Ji Hyung was now buried alive, yet he vowed to take revenge on all of them. Despite being trapped, Ji Hyung refused to give up, even when he lost oxygen. He attempted to break through the crystal prison, even trying to harm himself with one of the crystals. But his regeneration ability thwarted all his attempts. Undeterred, he drew strength from his mother's memory and fought harder to escape. Despite the years that passed, Ji Hyung's determination didn't wane. 5 years later, the bullies resurfaced and were being interviewed on live television due to their volunteerism. When questioned about the incident with Ji Hyung's mom, they lied, claiming they couldn't fully control their abilities at the time. However, their show was interrupted by a flying door, and the bully managed to block it. A monster stepped forward and stopped to glare at the trio. Ji Hyung underwent a transformation, turning him into a monstrous form. He became numb to the broken bones and pain. His regeneration had modified and strengthened his body after enduring pain. This allowed him to break free from the crystal prison they had buried him in. The next thing the bullies knew, Ji Hyung had buried his fist in the diamond bastard's face, sending the bully flying. In front of the confused bullies, Ji Hyung announced his return to trash his bullies. The bullies were taken aback by Ji Hyung's monstrous appearance, but they remained overconfident. The diamond-powered bully got up. Thor attempted to use his lightning ability, but it had no effect on Ji Hyung, as he had adapted his body to withstand most attacks. With newfound strength and resolve, Ji Hyung stood ready to face the bullies who had once tried to bury him alive. Ji Hyung used a swift yet overwhelmingly powerful strike to behead Thor. The other two watched Thor's head fly. Sandman uses his powers on Ji Hyung. Sandman's attempt to trap Ji Hyung in a sandpit failed miserably. Ji Hyung ran towards Sandman and grabbed his lower jaw. Ji Hyung rips the jaw out, leading him to face the same fate as Thor. Witnessing the demise of both his allies, the bully with diamond powers decided to sneak in and attack. He launched a futile attack, using a diamond-coated fist against Ji Hyung. However, his attack was ineffective after seeing the cracks in his diamond. The bully summoned a lot of diamond spears, directing the spears toward Ji Hyung. It seemed as though Ji Hyung had become a magnet for the spears, as they pierced him from all angles, inflicting significant damage. However, to the bully's surprise, Ji Hyung rose shortly after the attack, displaying a newfound relentless determination to avenge his mother. The bully noticed this change in Ji Hyung's demeanor and created a crystal-made suit to protect his body. He continued his assault on Ji Hyung, but his attacks were intercepted as Ji Hyung caught the bully's hand using his mouth and even detached it from his body. Desperate, the bully launched his final attack on Ji Hyung. With a missing arm, the bully tries to leave the area. Just then, the bully got pierced by his own spear that Ji Hyung had thrown at him, causing him to collapse to the ground. The bully screamed and asked Ji Hyung not to come. Ji Hyung butchered him until the bully became a porcupine. The bully didn't clearly recognize Ji Hyung, so the monstrous entity in front of him ripped off its bone mask. The bully suddenly had a flashback and finally recognized Ji Hyung. Ji Hyung then continued smashing the bully's face until a pool of blood formed on the floor. Before this confrontation, Ji Hyung visited the hospital where his mother was being treated. She had been in a coma all this time, looking vulnerable and defenseless. Ji Hyung finally finished his acts of revenge. As time passed, a group of Japanese hunters, including 4 men and a novice woman who were venturing inside the gate for the first time, were finally done with their mission. However, the men tried to take advantage of her. Just then, a head rolled on the ground. They checked who the attacker was and discovered a humanoid bone monster. Everyone attacked at the same time, but it was ineffective. Ji Hyung then went on a killing spree, swiftly beheading one of the men and effortlessly taking down the rest. The woman trembled in fear until she noticed that the bone monster had the appearance of a human. Thinking that Ji Hyung came to save her, she thanked him but soon met the same fate as the others. Days ago, a woman congratulated Ji Hyung for exacting his revenge. She introduced herself as the president of the Korea Hunters Association. Ji Hyung was surprised that she knew about him. She explained that she has been observing Ji Hyung since 5 years ago. Ji Hyung quickly moved to attack her, but the woman quickly claimed that she could save his mother's life. Ji Hyung stopped his fist. The woman explained that his mother's condition is only something that an S-class healer can cure, and she is that healer. Ji Hyung doesn't want to trust her, but the woman asked Ji Hyung how his mother could survive all this time while he was trapped for 5 years. Ji Hyung then asked what the president wanted. She explained that if Ji Hyung helped with a critical issue between Korea and Japan, she could heal his mother. The issue revolved around the gates being used as pathways for war between the nations, with monsters and hunters involved. The president offered to heal John's mother if he agreed to become a monster and fight the Japanese hunters as part of a plan by the Korean Association of Hunters to prevent a full-scale war. Back to the present, Ji Hyung is on his path to becoming a magic monster for the sake of his mother, slaughtering the Japanese hunters. Back in Japan, The Minister of Defense, Ryuzaki Juto, was furious and confused about the failure of elite-ranked hunters to return alive from the gates and invade the Korean lands. Kageru Itosai, the #1 hunter in Japan, offered to do something about it. He asked his secretary to prepare his sword and hand it to him. Fearing for Kageru's safety, the secretary suggested taking some hunters along for serious backup. However, Kageru, being stubborn, disregarded the advice and proceeded with his sword in hand. Upon entering the gate, Kageru encountered a few weaker monsters, which he dispatched effortlessly. Continuing forward, Kageru eventually came across Ji Hyung and attempted a quick attack. To his surprise, his strike had no effect on Ji Hyung. Look at the sturdiness of his exoskeleton. Feeling offended, Kageru unleashed his true power. Kageru used his first and second moonsword techniques and slashed his sword toward Ji Hyung. Kageru managed to break one of Ji Hyung's arms, boasting about the penetrating ability of his sword. Ultimately, Kageru beheaded Ji Hyung. An unconscious Ji Hyung recalled how hardworking and kind his father was. However, he was the reason that his father got killed. Seeing how his mother suffered, Ji Hyung tried to kill himself, but instead found out that he had awakened. That was the moment that he promised a hunter. The scene of his mother on the hospital bed awakened Ji Hyung. He recalled how the woman from before told him that the hunters broke the balance of the world and hired him to hunt hunters, especially the strongest hunters from Japan. Ji Hyung surprisingly regenerated and bit the leg of the Japanese Kageru, which shocked the Japanese man. Kageru launched an all-out attack with powerful strikes up to the 12th moon to counter the relentless Ji Hyung, completely obliterating his opponent and damaging the area. Kageru tried to leave, but a bone suddenly pierced his healthy leg. He sweats as Ji Hyung regenerates once again. Feeling offended, Kageru attacked again with anger. On the other side of the gate in Japan, the Prime Minister and skilled hunters of the Ministry of Defense were eagerly waiting for Kageru's return. Impatient, after 3 days, the Prime Minister decided to check on the situation and was surprised to find the ranked 1 hunter's head rolling out of the gate's entrance. To everyone's astonishment, Ji Hyung emerged from the gate and attacked the Prime Minister, making his head fly. Back at the Korean Association, the president's aide worries about Ji Hyung's recent actions and sends him to Japan. The president just wondered if Ji Hyung could win against Japan's strongest hunter. The head that Ji Hyung beheaded got attached back to the body, and he watched a burning fist hit him with full force. A huge explosion occurred outside the gate. Ji Hyung fell unconscious as the strongest Japanese hunter stood before him. Ryuzaki Juto is Japan's #0. And the SSS-ranked hunter. What will happen to Ji Hyung in this situation? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section.